everyone, welcome to the March edition of the Nocturne Society. Tonight we are back in my home studio. I'm doing another solo edition. We're going to have Arnie and Kevin on again, and then it became just Arnie, and then it became no one, because we're getting kind of busy at work right now, and people aren't having time. So we're going to postpone that to possibly next week, back in the big studio, where I believe Arnie said he was interested and wanted to talk about guardian angels. He's had some experiences in what he believes to be guardian angels, and wanted to share them with us. So we'll look forward to that next month. Tonight, I want to talk about, first I'll give you a few, little bit of information on a few websites that also do paranormal radio, and give you an idea of just how many are out there. And also, the main subject tonight is something kind of controversial. People don't really, they either say, I definitely believe in this, or I don't. And most of the time when I mention it to people, they kind of say, come on, now you're taking things too far. But the subject is vampires. It's something I feel is very shrouded in fiction, and if you're familiar with my website, I have a little Nosferatu guy sitting in the corner there that says, behind every myth is a legend, behind every legend is a truth, and I think once you cut away the layers, there's something there. So, first off tonight, First, something local. I wanted to say that this summer, I posted on the website as well, but just a reminder, this summer I plan on doing some investigations locally. There are a few places here that I wouldn't mind checking out. And my group's very small, as you can see by me doing most of my shows alone. I can get people to go with me sometimes, but people get busy, so I'm trying to gather an actual team. I think, let's get together an actual team so that we can do some investigations. And I've been getting calls from people that have been having problems, paranormal issues, and I deal with it best I can. But I end up often giving them to a larger group. So I would like to get a team together of my own and see if we can do a little good around this area. So if you're interested, there's a few places I was like. There's one place called the Muskie Lounge that I was thinking of trying to find out. It's changed hands. It's no longer called the Muskie Lounge, so don't bother trying to look it up. But their employees, it's notorious, I guess. The employees say that it's haunted. It's right near the water here in Madison, so wouldn't mind checking that place out. We give permission. And also there is a building here that's now a government building. It's a government health building, I believe. But it was something I had read about, a local Madison haunted places. I caught this building, and they didn't really say the name of it, but they described it. And it was a place that looked like it used to be a mental institution, and had a crematory attached next to the side of it, and a graveyard. And so a friend of mine, we went driving around trying to find this place. And we went to a couple of places we thought might be what they were talking about, but it didn't pan out. Wasn't quite the way it was described. And then we did finally find it, and it was very picturesque. It's up on a big hill. It does look like it was once a mental institution, and did have a crematorium attached to the side where they cremated the dead, and did have a graveyard off to the side. And it was pretty cool. As we were pulling up, the hill going up to it was just covered in black crows. So as we're driving up, the black crows taking flight and all. It was very ominous. And coincidence? I don't know. But when we did get there, the story said that the ghosts were mostly seen near the cemetery. Around in the back, they had this big woodland area. So we got out, and it was on a Sunday, so nobody was there, but it was during the day. And we walked around to the back where the crematorium was, and there was a little trail back there. And it's kind of just a walking path. And so we walked back their ways, and then it kind of, our car was parked on their property, so we kind of felt like we needed to get back in case we get towed or something, because we didn't have proper permission. So it's a place I wouldn't mind trying to get permission to go see, because it sounded very interesting. But like I said, it is now kind of a state building, and I'm not sure they would be willing to work with us. But you never know. It doesn't hurt to ask. So there are a lot of other places too here if that doesn't work out. So just like I said, I wouldn't mind getting a team together, some people I could depend on to be there when something comes up. Because I did, like I said, have a recent issue, someone from up north of ways that was having problems, and I had to kind of refer them to someone else because it wasn't convenient for me solo. Yeah, and you shouldn't do those kind of things solo anyway. So anyway, I'll put that out there. If you're interested, send an email to me at chad@black13.com, black-13.com. Also, like I said, I wanted to mention something about some other websites that have paranormal radio. We all know Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie and Art Bell, worldwide, world famous. And I think we all strive to be to that level. And even though we can't all have that big budget and have that big area of coverage that they do, there are some local or some other internet radio programs that are just as informative and entertaining. One I've found recently that I'd like to mention is called The Darkness on the Edge of Town, and the host is Dave Schrader, co-host is Tim Dennis. They are on a local radio station in Minnesota, but they broadcast live off their website, which is www.darknessradio.com. And they have, some really big names on there. They often have psychics that do call in, that people can call in and get a reading from. They have a lot of the TAPS group, because I believe Dave Schrader writes for TAPS Paranormal magazine. So they get to have a lot of the TAPS guys on talking about things like a couple weeks ago they had Keith Johnson on there, the demonologist. And so it's very professional and very, just as interesting as George Norrie. And I would definitely recommend that. Give it a shot. It's on Sunday nights. I believe it starts at 10 now, because it was an hour long, but they got bumped up to 2 hours because it was becoming popular. So check that out. And to just give you an idea of how many other programs out there, I just did a quick look to see how many other paranormal radio programs I could dig up. I'm not going to give you the address of all of them, but, for instance, there's Full Moon Radio, there's Ghost Gab Radio, there's Ghostly Talk, of course, that's becoming pretty popular. Night Watch, Unexplained Research Program, or radio program. There's the W Paranormal, but they say WPAR, Paranormal Investigation Program. And, it's getting harder and harder to differentiate myself from them. But hopefully we can all coexist happily and maybe, get get a bigger audience, get more people interested, which leads to, more research and more answers. So, okay, on to the program. The main part of tonight. Vampires. Now, the problem we have with that is the word. The word vampire sparks things in people's minds that is deceiving because of media. We have, the classic movie vampire, and then there's the whole Anne Rice crying vampire. And if you think of it that way, when someone says the word vampire to you, if that's what pops in your head, then you are correct in saying that doesn't exist. But if you want to break down the layers of what could possibly be explanations, if you take away the myth, start peeling away the layers of folklore and fiction and movies and books and things and you start breaking down the pieces to the bare building blocks, trying to find what this all built off of, because it didn't come from nowhere. Vampire myths have been with our civilization since Mesopotamia, and of creatures that steal our life, or creatures that drink our blood, take our energy, and almost every, I believe, if I'm not incorrect here, I believe every culture, with the exception of Egyptian, do have a vampire-type figure in them, which I find really funny because Anne Rice focuses on Egyptian, and there wasn't an Egyptian. I don't believe so. I'm not fluent on Egyptian history, but anyway, it all boils to break it down to the very start. You have to believe in some things. You have to agree that some things exist, and that is that the main power of the world is energy, raw energy. And this energy people have. Obviously, we can all agree upon that. There's electricity, there's energy moving through our bodies, without a doubt. Now, where it gets touchy is the ability to transfer that energy. Now, some people say that you're a self-contained unit, you can't transfer energy from one another. Other people say you have an aura of energy around you that can mingle with others. And that's a key to belief in vampires. And, I'm sure if any of you have done any type of research on it at all, you'll hear things about, have you ever had a person that walked into the room and is very draining? You talk to him for a while and you just can't stand being with them anymore. It's just, he's too heavy, And it is believed that type of person, either consciously or not, is taking your energy away from you. Now, that's all you need to believe in vampires. That's all you need, is the belief that that is possible. Because once you believe in that, all you have to overcome is the label. Take away vampire, call it something else. Call them an energy transferer. Now, where I disagree with some other people like Mary Ellen Guiley, she's written quite a few books on vampires, and she believes vampires exist, but she believes vampires as a paranormal ghoul that drinks blood. And I disagree with her there. I don't think that entity ever existed. I think that's getting confused again with what the basis of a vampire is. Now, as far as drinking blood goes, what part of the body is more full of energy than your blood? It transfers the energy around your body. So if you're a person that can take other people's energy, why couldn't you benefit from drinking their blood if you could stomach drinking their blood? A lot of the fanboy type of gothy type of vampire groups out there, they tend to think, there's separate groups. There's blood drinkers. There's what they call psychic vampires, which are the ones that take your energy through pulling it from your aura and that sort of thing. But if you ask me, a vampire is a vampire is a vampire. They're all doing the same thing. They're just doing it in different ways. So, do I believe that there are people out there that drink blood? Yeah, I do, because there are. Whether they do it to live in a particular lifestyle, that's the question. Are they sad goth types that want to live that life, and that's why they do it? Probably. But are they actually gaining something from drinking the blood? Probably. Why wouldn't you? If you can harness that type of possibility. And really, with the human mind, if belief is the biggest battle. If you believe you are something, be it werewolf, vampire, or anything that you believe is hard to imagine, if you yourself believe in it, that's almost making it true. So, belief is half the battle. So anyway, getting back to the whole energy thing, the reason I got interested in it is I read a book called How to Read Your Aura. And reading that book, is trying to get you to see your aura around you and around other people. And through practice, it's another trick of the mind. Did I actually learn to do it, or did my mind make me think I did it? I don't know. But I was seeing something around their body, around my body, around their bodies. And it got so common that I had a hard time not seeing it when I look at people. And, of course, that got me interested in the whole, can I take things? Can I manipulate mine? And there's some theories of that, too, that you can actually reach out with your aura without moving and dip into other people's. And that's supposedly the whole key to compatibility, according to that, is that each aura has a different frequency. And frequencies that are similar tend to, feel more in common with each other and more at ease. And you feel like you like this person, and this person's special to you, and it's just a matter of, they say it's just a matter of your frequency matching theirs. And they say that also, if you spend a lot of time with a person, you sleep together, you do things together, you're together a lot, your frequencies will start to change a little bit to becoming more the same. So supposedly the longer you stay with someone, the more you are alike. So if this is all true, I don't see any reason why vampires aren't something that could really be there. Now, like I said, could it be something someone does on purpose? Yes, it could be something someone does on purpose to actually hurt someone, in my opinion. And Marianne Kiley also agrees with that. She believes in psychic vampires, but she believes in all of that being more of a lifestyle. That people, not that they don't do it subconsciously, she said, but there are people that learn how to do it and do it on purpose as more of a lifestyle choice. I tend to disagree with that. I almost think that it's a disorder. Especially, they say that some people do it without knowing they're doing it, taking energy from people. So you talk to somebody and they're just, you just don't feel like you want to hang out with them. You just want to get away from them. And they may be doing it, pulling your energy away from you without you knowing it. And, it's funny because if that's almost like an inherited disorder, then there would be nothing the person could do about it. So they inherit through their family this sort of disability that their body doesn't produce the energy or aura around it that it can, and so it just dips from other people. And what's interesting along with this is that another theory behind it is that if you don't get this energy that you're looking for, you sink into a depression and kind of become dark and moody. So it kind of goes along with the whole goth thing if you think about it. But it's funny because this type of thing is poo-pooed from the paranormal groups. Vampires, that's so stupid, transfer of energy, blah, blah, blah. But then you talk to them about the ghosts they've seen, and they talk about, this EMF thing measures energy, and this, so they base their whole paranormal beliefs off of energy, of what the ghost is energy, everything's energy. But then when it comes to something like someone being able to harness some power within his body to manipulate his energy and others, if you ask me, a person with the ability to do that, that's magic. And I'm not saying it's magical like, it's so magical. I'm saying if you think back to, the old medieval times when people, supposedly there were wizards and people or priests that could control things. If someone got the ability to manipulate energy of other people, that's what I would think they would interpret as magical. So if you could use your energy in a psychic type of way, which that's what psychics do, is they read energy from others, they read leftover energy, they read, future energy. The whole freaking world revolves around energy, so if you can accept that, then if you can accept psychics exist, if you can accept ghosts exist, if you can accept, those, your own aura existing, then there's absolutely no reason that you shouldn't, in my opinion, accept that vampires exist. And if it is a disorder within the body that they can't control, then, it kind of goes along with the whole thing that vampirism is kind of like a disease, in a way. So, I don't want to get too personal about my experiences with this, but I've had some experience, and I tend to think that it is a very real thing. And unfortunately, like I said, you need to get past the idea that a vampire is a guy in a black cape with fangs that punctures your neck and drinks your blood. If you can get past that and get into just the thought that, the guy sitting next to you on the bus could be a vampire, consciously or not, that becomes kind of interesting. If you're sitting next to someone and you kind of feel reflective from him, you just kind of deflective, you want to get away from him, and that person could be, taking your energy, and I've read some books that there are ways to shield yourself from this happening. And also, if you do have this problem, there are ways to learn to control it. And I don't know. It's a touchy subject, and I hate to talk about it because it tends to tarnish your credibility in a way, which is kind of funny because we're talking about the paranormal, and it has kind of become a silly little game of, I don't know, the paranormal community has almost become almost like science in a way, that there's the common belief, and then there's the few rogues off to the side that are trying to do other things that are getting poo-pooed on by the big view of things. And vampires are kind of on that edge there. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to cover that. I don't have a whole lot more to say. Like I said, next week we'll be back in the big studio and be doing some more big long interviews with Arnie about guardian angels. But I just want to throw that out there about the vampires because it's food for thought. There's also beliefs that someone who's sick terminally is desperate for energy, clinging to life, and so sick people tend to steal your energy when you're visiting them. But anyway, if you're interested in this, send me some emails because I'd rather talk to you personally than talk about it in the big show. So, because like I said, it is kind of one of those areas that kind of tarnishes your credibility if you go too deeply into it. So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed our short little program this month. There wasn't a lot of, like I said, we've been busy at work, and a lot of people weren't interested in being able to talk this month. So, just on a side note, something I found rather exciting, when I was dealing with this person that from the northern Wisconsin was having issues, I was referred to Keith Johnson, who did respond to my emails and was helping me. He's the demonologist of TAPS. And while I was talking to him, he expressed an interest in being on the show. So I was very intrigued by this, and of course I'd love to have him on the show. Unfortunately, right now I don't have the ability to record a phone-in conversation from someone. So I'm going to definitely be looking into ways to do that. So, not only, to interview Keith, but also future people, so we can get this program happening more like a regular call-in program. And then we can possibly even look into doing it live instead of a recorded thing that you download. So, something to look forward to in the future if everything works out all right. So anyway, like I always say at the end of the show, please go to the forums. So, there's a couple people on there that talk pretty regularly, and me as well. So come join us, please. All right. Have a good night, and I will talk to you next month.